which titles truly stood as titans of graphics, crafting visuals so immersive that players lost themselves beyond the controller's grip. Which games flickered with that rare alchemy of artistry and technology, igniting a screen and etching imagery into the minds of millions? Let's step into this pixelated gallery. 10 groundbreaking PS2 games that pushed visual boundaries to their very edge. There are moments when a game becomes less of a game and more of a living, breathing world, a place so vast and beautifully melancholic that it almost feels like time itself stretches to contain your steps. Shadow of the Colossus is precisely that rare phenomenon, a masterpiece that redefined how visuals could evoke emotion beyond mere spectacle. The first brushstroke of its visual symphony is silence, the lonely plains and rolling hills unfurling beneath a sky painted in shades of dusk and dawn. The gentle sway of tall grass whispers as you ride your steed, aggro, each blade catching light with a delicate shimmer. The very air seems charged with an ancient magic, heavy and palpable. This isn't a world crowded with NPCs or bustling towns, it's an enormous forlorn canvas where emptiness amplifies every detail. And then, the colossi themselves. These monumental beings tower over you, a breathtaking fusion of architecture and organic form, each one painstakingly detailed with moss, cracks, and lichens that crawl along their weathered skin. The interplay of light and shadow across their massive bodies is a study in scale and texture, sunbeams piercing through cracks, dust motes swirling in the air as you climb. You can almost hear the rough scrape of stone under your fingertips. Feel the vibration in the resonant screeches that shake the world during battle. Every frame conveys weight, power, and an eerie, somber grace. The PlayStation 2's hardware, often underestimated, is coaxed into miracle here. Distant vistas stretch out with subtle haze, intricate environmental lighting creates a haunting ambience, and fog rolls across valleys in ghostly waves. The minimalistic HUD serves only to deepen immersion. No distractions, just you, the colossi, and the vastness between them. What sets Shadow of the Colossus apart, visually and emotionally, is its courage to present scale and simplicity not as limitations, but as poetry. It's not about crowding the screen with detail, but about making each pixel count towards storytelling. The result is a game that seduces not just your eyes, but your soul, a visual epic that remains timeless. The fury hits you before the story does. Crimson fire, framing jagged ruins, angry clouds blotting out Olympia's light. From the very first scene, God of War 2 blasts onto the screen like a titan woken from chains. Kratos stands, his skin white with ash and memory, a human weapon born of gods and blood. His blades flash, glinting as fire arcs reflect across temple walls and shattered columns. This isn't beauty in the gentle sense, it's savage, industrial, and mythic. And yet, beneath the chaos is extraordinary clarity. The PS2 era rarely delivered both spectacle and precision, but here, every element gleams. Lava glows like breathing embers. Shadows move dynamically as you battle, stretching impossibly long, then violently snapping back as Kratos spins mid-air. Statues crumble beneath weight you can feel. Water splashes against marble with individual ripples spreading across the ground. Camera work steals the show, no cuts, no transitions. It places you in the eye of the storm as it tilts and floats around blood-soaked battlefields and vast temples. Lighting guides you emotionally, a warm orange foreboding doom, eerie blue hinting at betrayal. And then there's the bosses. Enormous, screen-clawing, sculptures brought to destructive life. You ascend their scaled backs, dodging flame or stone, the camera framing every motion like it's caught between game and Greek drama. The storytelling is bold, but the visuals do equal lifting. You don't just enjoy the world, you rage through it, every moment escalating violently. The choreography of destruction has never looked this elegant on PS2. When it comes to pushing the console's visuals into balletic violence and operatic spectacle, God of War doesn't just raise the bar, it impales it. Imagine this: the sun setting over the Côte d'Azur, casting crimson reflections over a polished Audi's rooftop as you downshift into a tight coastal curve. Gran Turismo 4 wasn't just racing, it was photorealism on PS2. An ode to automotive worship delivered tire-screeching detail at a time when fidelity like this seemed impossible. Every car model is sculpted with obsessive precision. Chrome glints, metal catches ambient light, and bodywork reflects surroundings with eerie clarity. The team behind this game didn't just render cars, they deified them. Even the dashboard interiors, which most players barely notice, are drawn with remarkable detail gauges, pulse with feedback, leather dashboards absorb sunlight, and shadows creep across the windshield during dusk races. The environments are just as ambitious. Tokyo Expressway flickers under neon ads. Nürburgring stretches endlessly with trees whipping past at 200 km/h, their textures maintaining crispness even at relentlessly high speeds. Mountains in Switzerland gleam with frost. Rain becomes not just a visual factor, but a visceral challenge. Haze builds on the track. Tires reflect the wet sheen. Wipers smear water in hypnotic arcs. PS2's limited memory faced thousands of variables. 700 cars, dozens of international tracks, live weather simulation. Most would have compromised. Polyphony Digital didn't blink. Gran Turismo 4 pushed a realism boundary that made jaws drop. While others aimed for stylized drama or mythical spectacle, this game pursued reality and nearly caught it. Even in photo mode, shots could pass for real-life images, and countless players swore they were. It wasn't just a game. It was an automotive museum in motion, an artist's love letter to cylinders, speed, and sun-drenched asphalt. The PS2 didn't just simulate driving here. It felt like driving. If maps had veins, Final Fantasy XII would be a living world of arteries, cities, and magic pulsing through stone. This wasn't just fantasy, it was imagined at a scale few dared attempt on the PlayStation 2, and somehow, they pulled it off. Step into Rabanastre. Dust swirls in the streets. Awnings flap under twin suns. Architecture towers in Baroque curves and aged detail. Every wall seems carved with history. Every alley feels lived in. Textures shimmer in the heat. Lanterns sway. The streets breathe. And it's not just cities. The Dalmasca Estersand opens into rolling deserts of cracked stone and golden sand, the light casting filtered halos through wisps of heat distortion. Jungle ruins drip with humidity, their foliage thick and moving subtly in the wind. These environments stretch endlessly, with seamless transitions and diverse lighting schemes that suggest a world both dangerous and divine. But the crown jewel? The art of characters and creatures. Vaughn's coat shows hand-stitched patterns. Ash's crown catches the light. Esper's feel like celestial gods made metal and fire. Animations are smooth, expressive, subtle. Eyes shift, shoulders tense, cloaks ripple. Character armor reflects not only combat status, but emotion. And all of this unfolds without loading screens between battle and exploration. The UI fades, and suddenly you're in motion, real-time exploration and combat grounded by cinematic camera angles and sophisticated effects like depth of field and volumetric light, almost unheard of for the time. Final Fantasy XII is where ambition meets precision. It dared to build a breathing, political, magical world at a scope bigger than the console was meant to allow, and somehow it thrived. In the pantheon of visual world-building, few games have ever made fantasy look so real. This wasn't just an RPG, it was a world built pixel by pixel.
I've been waiting, Snake, for a long time. Waiting for your birth.
Camouflage isn't just strategy, it's survival. And in Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, the jungle isn't your backdrop, it's your opponent, your ally, and your atmosphere, all rendered with relentless devotion to detail. Welcome to the Soviet wilderness, where bushes conceal enemies and danger crackles deep in the trees. Sunlight filters through layers of canopy overhead, fracturing the forest floor into patchworks of moving shadow. Bark peels, leaves rustle underfoot, and puddles mirror Snake's silhouette as he pushes forward slow, deliberate, silent. It's realism in motion. Camo patterns blend with the environment, changing dynamically as terrain shifts. Stone, mud, water each demands tactical adaptation. Wet uniforms cling, bandanas flutter, blades gleam in the low sun. The textures don't just exist, they serve the story. When Snake shivers in the cold or winces in pain, the animation sells it, and so do the visuals. Lighting is moody and adaptive. A torch glows against cave walls like coiling fire. Moonlight glistens on your skin. The jungle, layered in fog and distant bird cries, creates an ever-changing palette. Greens, grays, sepia, gold. Cinematic cutscenes blend seamlessly with gameplay, creating an unbroken tone. Water surfaces shift under bullets. Explosions are sudden, violent bursts of light that scorch the foliage. PS2's hardware is pushed to the limits with particle effects, sharp facial animation, and seamless indoor-outdoor transitions. Every hiding spot is handcrafted. Every cliff edge feels like a POV shot from a spy thriller. Every footfall is framed by visual storytelling. With Snake Eater, Kojima Productions didn't just simulate a jungle, they built a living Cold War battlefield, painted in shadow, sweat, and survival. For immersive realism on PS2, this was the apex predator.
Like a mother and my master.
And your lover?
It went deeper than that. Half of me belongs to the boss.
Do you love her?
No, nothing like that.
Do you hate her?
What if a painting could move? What if brushstrokes could dance? Okami asked those questions and didn't just answer them, it made them divine. Picture it, fiery sunlight trailing across a field of golden wheat, ink spiraling over mountains like a breeze-born poem. The world of Okami pours out in cel-shaded ink and watercolor, living somewhere between dream and folklore, every step radiant with motion and myth. You are Amaterasu, the sun god in wolf's form, and every motion leaves a footprint of beauty. The grass grows in your wake, flowers erupt beneath your paws, trees bloom with a sweep of the controller. And that celestial brush, oh, the brush. With a flick, you slash enemies into smoke or part a lake to reveal submerged secrets. You don't use the environment, you paint it, you shape it. The visual style borrows from traditional Japanese sumi, bold outlines, swirling clouds, and expressive ink washes that make even static landscapes pulse with energy. Towns feel etched from rice paper. Mountain paths bloom in stylized flora. Rivers sparkle not with realism, but reverence even the moon feels hand-drawn. Yes, it's stylized, but that style bends the PlayStation 2 into something holy. No muddy textures, no stale geometry, just art in motion. Even weather tells a story. Rain bursts like crying brushstrokes. Snow drapes the land in fine monochrome dust. And every boss fight is a stained glass fever dream. The PS2 never looked this lyrical again. Okami didn't just push graphics technically, it redefined what visuals could express emotionally. Heart, spirit, myth, movement, all captured in lines you could almost trace with your fingers. What breeds fear better than darkness? Resident Evil 4 crafts terror not just from what you see, but how the world itself seems to breathe menace. This isn't your standard haunted mansion, it's an entire village, alive with decay and dread, rendered with ruthless precision. From the first steps through fog-choked streets, your flashlight beam dances across peeling walls, rusted metal, and cobbled stones glistening under a cold drizzle. The PS2's lighting engine comes alive here. Murky shadows spill across every narrow alley, flickering torches cast jittering ghosts, and nebula, thin wisps of fog curl with sinister purpose. The textures tell a story of abandonment, cracked paint, clotted blood, moss growing unchecked. The villagers themselves are nightmarish sculptures of grotesque detail. Worn clothes, matted hair, twisted faces glow with horrifying emotion. Animations are unnervingly fluid, a sudden twitch, a stagger, a feral roar amplified by the ambient sound and chillingly dynamic lighting. Outdoor areas shift with weather and time, turning familiar settings into shifting traps. Rain slicks the ground, reflections rippling with every step. Forests close in, thick and dark, branches ominously snag at your cloak. Fires crackle in the distance, their light casting shifting shadows that toy with your senses. Resident Evil 4 isn't just the apex of PS2 horror visuals. It weaponizes every pixel against you. The world itself becomes hostile, a living, breathing nightmare built from layers of texture, light, and fear. Every frame, every detail, screams survival, and by pushing the PS2's capabilities, this game etched terror into a generation's memories. Grace under pressure is the motto of Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, where every leap feels like poetry and every shadow holds ancient secrets. This game transformed the PS2's graphical limits into a dance fluid, breathtaking and alive. Step into crumbling palaces where sand trickles through fractured stone, its golden grains catching the sun with dazzling brilliance. Pools shimmer with perfect reflection, surfaces gleam with mirage like waves. The architecture is a marvel: layered arches, delicate carvings, and sprawling plazas dappled with shadows that evolve seamlessly as the day shifts. But it's not just backgrounds, it's the prince himself. His movements flow like water, running, sliding, leaping, and rolling with balletic grace. His coat flutters, hair sways, and every tumble stirs dust in rich detail. PS2 hardware paints this motion with an almost surreal fluidity. The magic of reversing time, a core mechanic, manifests as shimmering sands streaming backward, particles twisting in mid-air. These sand effects glow warmly, a subtle but dazzling touch that heralds not only gameplay innovation but the console stretched to its edge. Lighting is especially impressive. Soft rays pierce through stained glass, casting fragile rainbows on dusty floors. Torches flicker realistically, and moonlight bathes the desert ruins in silver mystery. Shadows behave intelligently, molding to the flowing environment. The Sands of Time feels like an ancient fable told through motion and light, a dance of visuals and storytelling. It's a reminder that limits can inspire elegance, that grace can be drawn pixel by pixel. By blending stunning animation with environmental beauty and time-twisting effects, this game made the PS2 shimmer with magic.
So you are mistaken. For in that moment I thought of one thing only. The honor and glory I would bring my business yet.
I haven't even picked a name for this.
Devil May Cry 3 screams style with every frame, turning the PS2 into a stage for digital pyrotechnics and gothic chaos. From the very first strike, the game unleashes a visual tempest. Dark Cathedral's tower, carved in gothic agony, stained glass shatters in a riot of shining fragments. Spires pierce skies crackling with lightning, and fiery hellscapes blaze with molten fury. The world burns with artistic fury, every surface alive with texture and motion. Dante himself commands the scene, his leather coat flapping dramatically, swords gleaming with lethal precision. His hair flows wildly, flickering in firelight and shadow. Animations are razor-sharp, blending fluid combat and acrobatic flourishes, with the camera tracking his every move like a ballet. The PS2 handles relentless effects with raw power. Explosions light the scene in bursts of fiery orange and blue streaks, smoke curls with weight and volume, and magical blasts ripple across enemies in dazzling waves. Chain reactions fill the screen with strobing light and particle showers. Color is a weapon here. Saturated reds blend with icy blues and infernal yellows, creating contrast that electrifies every fight. The environment reacts dynamically to combat's violence, shattering pillars and rupturing floors, adding raw physicality beyond just visuals. Special effects? lighting, and fluid character models combine to make combat sequences feel like a concert of destruction and style, pushing the PS2's graphical boundaries with relentless energy. Devil May Cry 3 isn't just an action game, it's a visual spectacle, a triumphant canyon of color, motion, and chaos, redefining how a console generation could witness style. Echo is a whisper, a breath, a dream rendered with breathtaking minimalism on the PlayStation 2. Its visuals don't shout, they linger. Grand, ancient castles drift in mist, ruins stretched into fragile infinity, and pale sunlight trickles softly through cavernous halls like fragile hope. Every surface is layered with delicate texture, from crumbled stone to smooth marble, bathed in gentle washes of light and shadow that breathe with melancholy. The world feels alive but quiet, a place paused on the edge of memory. Walls crack realistically, peeling paint reveals age, soft breezes, ripple banners, and cloak edges. The camera glides gracefully, always framing the small intimacy of two hands clasped amidst vast emptiness. Echo himself is a sculpture in motion, delicate and graceful. His smooth lines contrast starkly with the jagged, imposing architecture, emphasizing his vulnerability. Movement is soft and fluid, every step measured, every turn careful. Lighting is subtle but powerful shafts of light blaze spilling planes onto cold stone floors. Shadows fold like velvet curtains. The game's soundscape amplifies this stillness, with environmental effects that play against visuals to evoke isolation and hope. The minimal HUD and color palette reinforce the dreamlike atmosphere, muted earth tones punctuated by the warm glow of candlelight or the faint shimmer of moonbeams. Echo pushes PS2 visuals by rethinking what detail means. It's not more polygons or flashy effects, but emotional weight carried through light, texture, and space. This visual poetry remains unforgettable, a quiet testament to elegance and restraint that turns a simple adventure into an exquisitely haunting experience. These 10 games represent the absolute pinnacle of PlayStation 2 visual achievement, demonstrating that creative engineering and artistic vision could overcome apparent hardware limitations. Each title pushed specific aspects of the console's capabilities to create lasting visual impressions. The technical innovations pioneered by these games influenced future console generations and established visual benchmarks that remained impressive even as more powerful hardware became available. Their legacy demonstrates that true visual excellence emerges from the combination of technical expertise, artistic vision, and creative determination to exceed perceived limitations. Which of these games blew you away? Did any of them age better than you expected? Let us know in the comments. We read every single one and love chatting with you. If you had fun, tap that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss our next drop of gaming goodness. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.